Leonardo da Vinci opened his eyes. The last thing he remembered was dipping his quill into ink, sketching another impossible machine. A machine that could fly. Now, he found himself standing beside a busy airport. A deafening roar filled the sky. Leonardo looked up. A giant passenger jet soared overhead. Its wings stretched wider than the streets around him. Hundreds of people were inside, flying. His notebook slipped from his hands. He whispered, "Impossible." A young aviation student noticed the confused old man. "You've never seen an airplane before?" Leonardo slowly shook his head. "I spent my life dreaming that mankind might one day fly." The student smiled, then welcome to the future. Another aircraft climbed into the clouds. Leonardo couldn't take his eyes off it. For centuries, I wondered whether birds were showing us a secret. He smiled. It seems they were. The student invited him inside the airport. Large windows overlooked dozens of aircraft. Some were landing, others prepared for takeoff. Leonardo watched in amazement. So many. The student nodded. More than 100,000 flights take off around the world every day. Leonardo laughed softly. "I imagined one. You built thousands." His eyes filled with wonder. "The sky belongs to everyone now." The student smiled. "This is only the beginning." He pointed toward a helicopter, lifting gracefully into the air. Leonardo froze. "No wings? No. No flapping? No. It simply rises." The student nodded. Leonardo smiled like an excited child. "I drew that." The student looked surprised. "You did?" Leonardo laughed. "Not perfectly, but close enough." For the first time in 500 years, one of his greatest dreams was real. Leonardo followed the student into an engineering laboratory. The room was alive with invention. Robotic arms assembled machines with incredible precision. Engineers studied digital designs, floating on giant screens. In one corner, a small drone lifted quietly into the air. Leonardo watched it hover effortlessly. No wings, no pilot. "It flies by itself?" The student nodded. "It can inspect bridges, deliver medicine, help farmers, and even assist during disasters." Leonardo smiled. "I dreamed of giving humanity the freedom of birds. You taught the machines to fly as well." The student handed him a lightweight virtual reality headset. "Try this." The room disappeared. Suddenly, Leonardo was standing inside a magnificent cathedral still under construction. He walked around enormous pillars and painted ceilings, reaching out instinctively. Then, with a blink, he stood inside a modern skyscraper. Next came a journey through the human heart, where arteries and organs appeared in breathtaking detail. Leonardo slowly removed the headset. "In my time, I filled notebooks trying to understand the human body." He looked at the student with amazement. "You can now walk inside it." The student smiled. And that's not all. He led Leonardo to another workstation. A machine quietly built a small object, one thin layer at a time. "It is carving without a sculptor. It's a 3D printer," the student explained. "It builds objects directly from digital designs." Within minutes, the machine finished a perfectly shaped gear. Leonardo picked it up carefully. No hammer, no chisel, no mold. He laughed. The machine has become the craftsman. Nearby, a woman demonstrated an advanced robotic hand. The artificial fingers gently picked up a glass before shaking Leonardo's hand. He looked at it with admiration. "This hand, it gives someone their life back." The engineer nodded. "It helps people who have lost a limb work, write, and embrace their families again." Leonardo became quiet. Invention is at its greatest when it restores human dignity. The student smiled. "I think you would have enjoyed being an engineer today." Leonardo looked around the laboratory one last time. "I already am." He paused. "I've simply arrived 500 years late," the student laughed. I still have one more place to show you. Leonardo raised an eyebrow. More astonishing than this? You spent centuries wondering what happened to your paintings. Leonardo stopped walking. My paintings? The student nodded. I think it's time you met your most famous one. Together, they walked toward the museum. Leonardo and the student entered a grand museum. Visitors from every corner of the world moved quietly through its galleries. Some admired sculptures. Others stood before paintings that had survived for centuries. The student smiled. There's someone waiting for you. They turned one final corner. A crowd stood silently before a single painting, protected by glass, watched by millions every year. Leonardo stopped. His eyes widened. The Mona Lisa. For a long moment, he couldn't speak. He stepped closer. So, she survived. The student nodded. Not only survived, she became the most famous painting in the world. Leonardo looked around the gallery. People were smiling, photographing, studying every tiny detail. All these people, they came to see her. They came to see your imagination. Leonardo looked back at the painting. When I painted her, I hoped someone would understand. The student smiled. 500 years later, millions still do. Leonardo stood silently. Then he laughed. I spent years trying to finish this painting. It seems history finished it for me. The student led him to another gallery. Inside were digital displays showing Leonardo's notebooks, his flying machines, bridges, anatomical sketches, engineering designs, machines centuries ahead of their time. Visitors explored every page with a touch of the screen. Leonardo watched children studying his drawings, engineers taking notes, artists finding inspiration. My notebooks, they're still teaching? The student nodded. Every day, Leonardo smiled gently. The greatest invention isn't a machine. It's an idea, shared across generations. As evening fell, they stepped outside the museum. The city lights stretched to the horizon. Airplanes crossed the sky. A drone hovered above a nearby bridge. Children played in the park. Artists sketched along the river. Engineers hurried home from work. Leonardo looked at the modern world one last time. I dreamed of a future, filled with invention. He smiled. You built something even greater. A future filled with creators. The student asked quietly, if you could leave one message for the people of today, what would it be? Leonardo looked toward the night sky, then answered with a smile. Be curious. Observe everything. Ask why. Create fearlessly. And never believe that imagination has limits. Not because there was nothing left to draw, but because humanity had continued the sketch. The notebook was no longer his alone. It belonged to every dreamer who dared to imagine the impossible. If Leonardo da Vinci walked among us today, what invention do you think would amaze him the most? Tell us in the comments. And remember, every masterpiece begins with a single sketch. Thank you for watching What If History. History doesn't just remember the past, it inspires the future.